Hey everyone, and welcome back to Heartfelt Hustle. I'm so glad you are here today because today's episode is going to be a little bit of a truth bomb, something that I have been wanting to share for a while. We are going to be talking about launches or selling systems, but not in the way you might expect. So, what are you waiting for? Let's dive in.
Welcome to Heartfelt Hustle, the podcast that dives deep into the heart and hustle of entrepreneurship, where our dreams meet reality and where our passions fuel our success. I'm your host, Sushmita Jain, a launch strategist and operations director, founder of an outsourcing agency. Most of my clients call me their right hand woman, and most importantly, a curious soul as well as a nerd. I am here to share my experiences. I am here to share my insights. I am here to share practical tips that will help you build a thriving and a sustainable business. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or someone looking to infuse more heart into your hustle, I am here and this podcast is for you. Each week, we'll dive into topics ranging from reconnecting to your passions, your soul, your why, and overcoming the roadblocks of your growth journey. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dig in into this heartfelt hustle together.
I still remember the first time I read or I did run a proper traditional launch. And I think it was back in 2017 or something like that. And I had the timeline, I had the emails mapped out, I had followed the formula that we were supposed to follow. And is the very interesting thing that I want to share with you. And if you've been following me and been connected with me for quite some time, you know how much I love structure, how much I love prepping beforehand so that we have our sanity. And I do love having a plan. I do love doing things a certain way, right? But, yeah, as always, there's a big but. I also, at the same time, love doing things my way and maybe more even in an intentional way, which back then I did not know. So, at my core, I am an experimenter. Like, I'm surprised that I actually switched my careers from literally being an experimenter in a research institute doing experiments every single day to what I do, which technically what we are doing when we are working as well is experimenting, testing things out, right? So I like testing, I like tweaking, I like refining when something doesn't truly feel or connect with me anymore. And back then, when I did my first launch, I was following a formula and I did not kind of connect with it. And I think that's something which is vital being an experimenter for us to actually feel it so that we understand why it is not something which is right for us. So back then, when I was so focused on doing it right, that I did not leave any space for being me, for me having my own rhythm, for me understanding my energy, for me literally having fun in my own way while running the launch. So, initial few times, every single time I launched, it started feel like I was becoming this someone or some different person altogether, someone who felt more persuasive, someone who felt was performing, someone who felt was on, so it literally started feeling more like a performance or a role. And to be honest, that was not the role I had auditioned myself for. Yeah, right. So it was like me wearing a mask that I did not quite like or fit in or approve of, you know? And that's the irony, isn't it? When we start business or when we get into this field, when we get into this whatever zone we are in where we are running our passionate businesses, we start for freedom, right? And we kind of somehow do not realize it, but we unintentionally start getting ourselves away or taking ourselves away from enjoying that freedom at the same time. So back then, when I was launching that way, it did not feel free. It felt like I had to fit in a version of success that wasn't designed for someone like me. Whereas now I build launch strategies that still have structure, but I do that in my own way with flexibility, with honesty, with space to pause, even pivot, or completely change the plan if that's my energy or my life or my needs. And most importantly, I am not becoming someone else to make it work. I'm rather more and more inclining towards reconnecting with who I am in that moment and sharing that side of me while I'm doing that. Or even while right now I'm recording this episode, I'm not filtering things out, but rather I have my bullet points in front of me because me being me, I can go on tangents, but yeah, I do have my bullet points so that I do not go in tangents and do talk a lot about other stuff. But I'm just taking them as cues for me to actually talk about what I want to talk with you guys today about. So from then, which was I think when I said 2017, yeah, it's been quite some long time since I actually started running or doing launches of my own to now. If you ask me what has changed, well, I'm sure it's not like a big breakdown moment, but it has been more of, again, who I am, me having quiet realizations over time, you know, and me understanding that slowly but steadily something has to shift the way I am doing things, the way I'm running my business. So, of course, I started paying attention to what trained me, what did lit me up. This is something I always say to my clients as well. Always make notes, especially when you're doing launch events. You don't want to go deeper into those notes when you're running launches, but if and when you have any realizations, make notes around those things so that you can come back to it later because we have so many thoughts in our mind and we're processing so many things and we're thinking about so many things that once the moment is gone, there are very high chances you might even not remember these things later. But if you make these small teeny tiny notes for yourself now, once you have maybe completed your launch or once you have maybe completed the campaign you're running currently, you can go back to it. So you'll start noticing, what kind of conversations were lighting you up, which kind of clients you're really liking, what feels more easy or, less fun and, adds in that, oh my God, I want to do more of this kind of stuff in your launches, you know, and there's going to be very high chances that it might not come from you following someone else's formula, but it would rather come from you understanding what you truly like, because that's exactly what even I started doing. So it always did not work the traditional way, but it rather came from connection. It came from the context behind conversations. It came from the content or even the discussions I was having on videos while I was running those launches, from moments where I was just being me. And that's when it hit me. That and it's not just that, like it might sound as cliche as it might, but we all know that we don't want to manipulate momentum with artificial urgency. You know, we rather want to build magnetism with intentional energy. That is what running launches is all about, to build magnetism, to bring in the right set of people who are inclined towards us, and then further filtering those out who would rather take in the next step, the next opportunity, which we have right now to present. Some might not be able to join when the time is now, but next time when you open it, they might be like, yes, last time, I know how it felt like. It couldn't, work out that time, but this time I do not want to miss it, you know? So, what do I do instead now? These days, my launches look and feel different. Some of them, like literally, if I'm being honest, some of them don't even look like launches from the outside, and that's the magic. Like, I am now more leaning into selling systems that create consistency. I either build content that leads people in towards making a decision, or I nurture the audience with or in a certain way, whether it's by emails, meaningful conversations, behind the scenes, what things are happening. And that's what does matter. Like, I had those moments when, I would be on and off, or I would show, like show up for the times when I was running launches, then I would go disappearing myself for weeks. And I've seen that happen with my clients as well. So that's definitely something that is changing, because the more and more I'm having fun, the more easier it's getting for me to actually just be me, share things, and my presence now I feel is more of a mix of who I am as well as what I do, instead of it just being that this is my work, this is what I do. If you want to work with me, it's more than that. There's this dynamic layer which I think unintentionally we kind of hide it. But now that I'm just letting it come in, it's just making it much more easier to just, have the conversations I would really like to have with you people as well. So when I do run events or master classes, or even I do maybe run things from a space of service and genuine desire, it's not actually me building pressure on myself, but it's rather just me having fun. And seriously, like based on the things I have in mind and the things that are gonna be coming, and I will be sharing more updates in the upcoming episodes about it. It's going to be so much fun. Like, I am genuinely excited for what's coming, and my strategy now is simple: be visible, stay connected, sell with intention, create from alignment. And as a manifesting generator, I feel, I I love having offer ecosystem and doing things a certain way. But like I said before, I'm an experimenter. So I'm gonna be experimenting. I'm gonna be testing things out. I'm gonna be sharing the results and what I've been learning, either in, like my weekly newsletters, which if you haven't signed up for yet, you do have the link in the show notes, just say. Uh, I just love writing my weekly newsletters. Then I share a lot more deeper stuff in my membership, and I am also obviously planning and looking forward to running few more deep containers, but like I said, more about that in the coming time. So what I want to come back to, and this is why I have bullet points, guys, is that, I trust that the right people will come when the energy and offer both align. I do genuinely believe in that. And it's very interesting that how I'm actually sharing these sides of things, which how I think, how I feel, whereas I've never actually talked about this openly before. So now here's something that actually, now that we're talking about the things that I do not talk about, let me share something with you more apart from what I've already shared. So, supporting my clients behind the scenes with their launches has also played a very huge role in shifting how I run my own launches as well, and how I even suggest them or give them ideas and suggestions when it comes to their own launches as well. I've seen the pressure they've put on themselves. I've witnessed the overwhelm, the exhaustion, the near burnouts. Yes, guys, that can happen when the strategy isn't aligned with the person. And as a launch strategist, I never want any of the people to actually experience this, or you know I'm not someone who just hands over a certain template or a launch calendar randomly and say, here you go, just do this. No, that's not how it works with me. For me, it's all about asking questions, understanding what the person is really, inclined towards, understand how they operate, and then giving them ideas and suggestions based on that. That's exactly how I operate, how my brain operates. Like, I cannot imagine doing something without having some background knowledge or information. So I started, and that's exactly how I started helping my clients as well, is by asking better questions. How does this feel for you? What's your capacity right now? What would make this launch feel more spacious or more fun going, and something that you really would want to come back to next time instead of it feeling stressful, and the more I helped my clients with launches in a way that worked for them, more I realized that I needed to give myself the same permission as well. So my launches now reflect everything I stand for as a strategist. They're aligned, they're intentional, and they're sustainable. And they not only just get better results, but it also helps my clients as well, because this experimentation process gives me a lot more information than further I can share with those who I'm working with as well. And I'm sure it will be spilled up in some way or the other during these podcast episodes too. So if you're listening and thinking, hmm, I felt that too, Sush, and I felt or I feel I've been pushing, performing, pretending, and I don't know how any other way then I can do it. Let me give you this permission slip right now. You're allowed to literally launch or sell in a way that supports you or even your nervous system. It could look something like you running a 3-day pop-up experience like maybe you run it on your Facebook profile instead of running it inside a closed community, who knows? Or you might actually run it in a closed community so that it's more safe for those who want a more safer environment versus you running it on your Facebook profile. It could mean that. It could mean you are selling maybe for a week instead of you dragging it over for 3 weeks. Or it could mean you are stepping out of your comfort zone and having actual conversations with people which are going to lead you to the right people instead of you just trying to throw spaghetti on the wall, or you're allowed to sell in a way that feels maybe more authentic to you. Say like maybe you love inviting in people to work with you through Instagram stories, and you have been meaning to try that. When you do it, it works, but then you feel like maybe you're being lazy, and then that's the reason why you're trying some other way. Well, if it works for you, especially for maybe your high level containers, why not? If maybe going live works for you for your high level containers, why not? You know, you're allowed to build or even rebuild your business to fit you, not as per the industry standard. So understand what's working for you, understand maybe what new bits you want to try and test if you're an experimenter like me, but also double down on what's working, because the strategies you use should like literally align with your energy. And the more you honor that, the more success you will create with ease, flow, and joy. So, if this episode did speak to you in some way or the other, make sure you screenshot and you share it on your Instagram and, tag me in the story so that I know what is resonating with you, or maybe what aha moment you are experiencing right now. And if you know someone who would rather actually benefit from this episode, why are you shying from sharing it? Share it with your business buddies, your friends who could benefit from it, because it's just gonna help them, get them in the thinking mode, and then you guys can brainstorm together as well, right? And apart from that, if you are done with launching in a way that maybe you feel it's not actually the way you would like to do, and you'd rather want to run aligned launches, I right now have space for one-on-one strategic consulting and support. So feel free to DM me. The link to my Instagram is in the show notes below. So I hope to hear from you, and thanks for tuning in. Make sure you leave a review as well, and I will see you next week on Heartfelt Hustle. Bye for now.